July 30th, 2021, the month of July. We say good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 6 p.m. Prime News of Camdis Television. We begin right away with our major stories. The Minister of Basic Education, the Minister of Public Service have jointly spoken to the press on the result of the 2020-2021 school year and the recruitment test of 33,000 public service teachers and call on teachers to be duty conscious as part of the support program for educational reform in Cameroon for the 2020 financial year. The United Nations Population Fund has this July 30th, 2021 officially handed over 423 interagency emergency productive health kits to the Ministry of Public Health that would be discharged to 106 clinics in Cameroon. The Minister of Economy, Planning and Regional Development, Paul Tasson, has this Friday, July 30th, chaired the second session of the Interministerial Technical Committee meeting with experts in charge of assessing the maturing of public investments projects at the Amphi 300 of the ministry. We have details in some moments. Thanks for joining us. If you are just tuning in, this is the 6 p.m. Prime News of Camdis Television. We begin this newscast with education. The Minister of Basic Education, Laura says Etudingwa, has in a joint press conference with the Minister of Public Service, Joseph Lay, present the recruitment results of 3,000 public service teachers. They also said that it is very important for teachers to be responsible and carry out their duties wherever they have been sent to work. We'll listen to this excerpt from the Minister of Basic Education.
Public service have just said at the administrative level, give the Minister of Finance to take measures, constraint measures to call back the civil servant to discipline. But at the technical level, all what we have been doing so long, taking in place the fact that somebody can be adapted normally somewhere. If he is native of the place, he is naturally adapted to that place. If he is somebody who comes from another place, he needs a few minutes with time to adapt himself. And in duties which really are very sensitive, like teaching, they don't have enough time to lose, to seek for adaptation. This is the reason why we prefer taking there somebody who is already adapted if we fulfill conditions. This is the reason why first we talk about job posting, because to choose a place where we will go and stay for long, we must be sure that we have all your needs supplied at that place. And if we don't have them, we must be sure that we have means will allow you to adapt quickly at the place. If we don't have all of them, it's better that somebody who is from the place take the post at your place. This is the reason why we wanted to explain it during the whole process since we resumed this new selection through Parade project that is available now in the country. Thank you.
Still in line with that press conference, the Minister of Public Service, Joseph Lay, says break is over for ghost workers. He says they are going to work hand in hand with the Minister of Finance to see into it that those teachers that have refused to assume duties in the different regions where they have been assigned, that the salaries are going to be cut. Let's listen to the Minister of Public Service, Joseph Lay.
Public service, when you are absent from your post of duty for 30 days, which means a month. After a month, you can be sacked from the civil service. So we are going to work on it, and we will also control. We are putting in place, you know it, I hope, the new place that will enable us to have a mechanism that will enable us to be able to control everywhere, because everything will be now digitalized. So that if this is Aimbile, who must be in Akwaya, for example, we notice when we go there, let us say at the beginning of the month, and we notice that she's there, we go back at the end of the month, we also notice that she's not there. I'm sure she will notice that something has been done against her. The first thing we do with the Minister of Finance is to suspend your salary. Then we command you to come and explain why you are not in your post of duty. So we are working on it because we have many civil servants. More than 350 civil servants in our country. But as the minister said, in big towns like Yaoundé, Douala, and others, you have 10 persons for one post. And when you go to Akwaya or to Ngoila, you notice that in a whole school, that needs about at least 4 or 6 teachers, you have only one. Maybe the director or I don't know, which is not normal. So all of that must be checked, and in the next few years, we will deploy all of them, because in our administration, you have, when you have a civil servant, you have to serve everywhere in your country, because we are all Cameroonians, and every part of Cameroon is our country. That's why we have started what the minister said.
We now talk health, where the United Nations Population Fund has officially handed over 423 interagency emergency reproductive health kits to the Ministry of Public Health this July 30th, 2021. These kits said are supposed to be distributed in 106 clinics over the national territory. The ceremony was chaired by the Minister of Public Health, Dr. Manawuda Malashi. Our reporter, Ruth Fonyong, took part in the ceremony and completes the story.
The official handover ceremony of health kits, which will help realize normal reproduction, stabilize patients' conditions, which seems complicated before sending them for high-level care. This event, co-chaired by Dr. Malawuda Manashi and Siti Batul, marks an important step towards improving the offer of maternal health services as well as medical care of COVID-19 cases in Cameroon. The equipment acquired by UNFPA on behalf of the government does consist of 2 large kits. There is, on the one hand, a batch of 2,481 equipment resulting from 24 varieties and including, among others, resuscitation, ventilators, oxygen extractor, laryngoscope, stethoscope, fetal Doppler, wall clock, and many others.
This is within the framework of what UNFPA has been doing in Cameroon, all over the world, but particularly in Cameroon, to address the issues related to maternal health. And we are committed to accompany the government to reduce dramatically the level of maternal mortality and morbidity, and this is part of the equipment provided to reinforce, to sustain the effort that the government and partners are doing to improve health system.
With a value of approximately $26,099,223 or $143,545,706 francs CFA. These equipment will be distributed to 54 health services in the intervention regions of the maternal, neonatal, and child health support project, as well as to the Public Health Emergency Operations Center in in Yaoundé. The ceremony began with the signature of the act of donation and ended with a symbolic handover of the kit to the Minister of Public Health, Dr. Marawuda Malashi.
The Minister of Economy and Planning and Regional Development, Paul Tasson, has chaired the second session of the interministerial meeting with experts in charge of assessing the maturity of investments project. Objective is to see how to reinforce measures to see into it that these projects are being realized by 40%. Alcamdis team was present. Now let's report. As government's effort to re-strategize and reinforce the level of public investments in Cameroon by 40% as part of His Excellency President Paul Biya's objective to make Cameroon an emergent country by 2030, a second session of the Interministerial Technical Committee of experts in charge of assessing the maturity of public investments projects takes place July 30th, 2021 in Yaoundé, Amphi 300 at the Ministry of Economy, Planning and Regional Development. While presiding the opening of the second committee session, the Minister of Economy, Planning and Regional Development, Paul Tasson, made it clear in his opening speech that strategies for national development from 2020 to 2030 have registered much delay in the realization of key projects. According to the minister, some projects to be executed have also been abandoned or poorly done. He, however, said more dispositions have been taken seriously to evaluate the quality of projects before their inscription in the state budget. Faced with these shortcomings, the government has engaged to make sure that henceforth these projects should attain complete maturity before being registered in the state budget to enable proper execution to the benefit of the population. The Minister of Economy, Planning and Regional Development, Paul Tasson, calls on experts directly concerned with the examining of investment projects to be transparent, objective and responsible, as these are steps to successfully achieve their objectives. A clarion call for strict respect of the Prime Minister, Dr. John Gute's decree of June 21, 2018, to study the process and appreciate the state of public project investments and the evaluation of instances dedicated for the projects, a positive step to make Cameroon an emergent country by 2030. Cameroon has joined the world to celebrate the International Friendship Day, the 30th of July 2021. It is set aside for friends to come together, share and to strengthen their friendship bonds and to reconcile. In the following report, Geraldine Nasir tells us the origin of this day. Let's listen to her.
Friendship is a relationship of mutual affection between people. It is also a stronger form of interpersonal bond than an association. Originated by Joyce Hall, the founder of Hallmark in 1930, the International Friendship Day was proposed on July 30, 1958 by the World Friendship Crusade, an international civil organization that campaigns to foster peaceful culture. The idea of globally celebrating Friendship Day came to Dr. Roman Artemio Bracho on July 20, 1950. In 1998, UN Secretary General Kofi Annan's wife, Nane Annan, named the cartoon character Winnie the Pooh as the world's ambassador of friendship at the United Nations. On April 27, 2011, United Nations General Assembly declared July 30th as official Friendship Day. The day is celebrated by friends worldwide by exchanging greeting cards and gifts and spending quality time together. This day is also an opportunity for friends to strengthen their friendship bond with humility and truth, and equally forget their differences or pride and heal from their old wounds. Studied in academic fields such as communication, philosophy, and social psychology, this day is being celebrated with the idea that friendship between peoples, countries, cultures, and individuals can inspire peace, effort, and build bridges between communities. This day is seen as a resolution that places emphasis on involving young people as future leaders in community activities that include different cultures and promote international understanding and respect for diversity.
We now talk security, where the frequent Boko Haram terrorist attack in the far north region of the country is becoming unbearable to the population and to the defense and security forces in that part of the country. Since 2009, the government has derived multi-dimensional measures on how to combat this Islamic sect that have been killing innocent life in that part of the country. In the following report, BrigadeAntiSardinard says the government of Cameroon has re-strategized and has put down measures on how to combat this Islamic sect. His report.
The Boko Haram terrorist group has killed at least 80 civilians in escalating attacks in Cameroon's far north region since December 2020. The Islamist terrorist group has forced over 322,000 people from their homes since 2014. The group has loaded hundreds of homes in the far north region. Thus, the call for government to take concrete measures to protect vulnerable communities is in a rise. According to a November 2020 report on the African Center for Strategic Studies, a United States Department of Defense think tank, the Boko Haram's attack against civilians and defense and security forces in Cameroon in 2020 was higher than that in Nigeria, Niger, and Chad combined. To combat Boko Haram, Cameroon has deployed two military operations, namely Operation Emergence 4, made up of units of the regular army, and Operation Alpha, comprising of units of the Rapid Intervention Battalion B, the Allied Corps of the Cameroon Army. In addition to the operation, we have the multinational Joint Task Forces, whose first military sector is based in Mora and comprises 2,450 Cameroonian troops. On the whole, about 7,000 men have been deployed by Cameroonian defense forces in both operations. The government of Cameroon has never relented effort in seeking ways to restore peace and normalcy in the far north region. On the very high instruction of the head of state, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, the Minister Delegate at the Presidency of the Republic in charge of defense, Joseph Betty Asomo, was in the far north region for a two-day security meeting to galvanize, re-strategize, and dish out new orders to the defense and security forces in the region. This was due to the recent twin attacks within a week perpetuated by the Islamist terrorist sect Boko Haram that claimed the lives of over 13 soldiers, with many seriously injured. The government of Cameroon has never failed to extend heartfelt condolences to the families of fallen soldiers, as well as befitting burial. The presidential couple has in all times extended speedy recovery to the wounded soldiers.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you are just joining us, this is the 6 p.m. Prime News of Acamdis Television, live from Yaoundé, the capital of Cameroon. The 7th Cabinet meeting for the year 2021 focused on social economy, tourism and leisure, and the ravaging COVID-19 pandemic that has been claiming more lives in the country. The preoccupations of this Cabinet meeting that was chaired by the Prime Minister, Head of Government, Chief Dr. John Gote at the Star Building, July 29. BrigadeAntiSardinard has details in the following report.
The effectiveness of the financial package accorded to help businesses by government of Cameroon and the evaluation of the vaccination campaign against the ravaging COVID-19 pandemic preoccupied the 7th edition of the Cabinet meeting on July 29th at the Star Building, chaired by the Prime Minister, Head of Government, Chief Dr. Joseph Dion Gote. The 7th Cabinet meeting for the year 2021 was a partial evaluation of the government's response strategy against COVID-19. The Cabinet meeting focused on the impacts of the financial aid package handed to some sectors of the economy in 2020 to help them survive the consequences of the pandemic. Two sectors were under review: the tourism and leisure and the social economy sectors. The Minister of State, Minister of Tourism and Leisure, Bello Buba Magari, presented in the meeting the state of the tourism sector in the country ahead of the biggest African football jamboree. Minister Bello Buba Maigari also presented how the 2020 fund granted by the government to the sector were used, what they were used for, and how effective it has been in aiding actors of the sector. The Minister of Small and Medium-Sized Enterprises, Social Economy and Handicraft, Ashibashi Liken Trua, equally presented in the cabinet meeting how beneficial the government grants in 2020 were to some of the sectors. The 7th session of the cabinet meeting in 2021 also looked at the epidemiological situation of COVID-19 in Cameroon, as well as the progress of the vaccination exercise. The Minister of State Property and Land Tenure, Henry Eyebe Aisi, also presented a report on the experimental phase of the inventory of state properties in Cameroon. The Prime Minister, Head of Government, Chief Dr. Joseph John Gote, urged the various ministries concerned with the upcoming African Cup of Nations to finalize everything so as to have the best African Cup of Nations in modern times organized in Cameroon.
We now move out of the country where a Canadian of Cameroonian origin, Alima Geba, has been appointed on July 29 as Senator of Quebec in Canada. She was appointed by the Canadian Governor General. The young entrepreneur, before her appointment, have occupied so many posts and occupied so many capacities. She is a brain behind the Canadian African Bridge. In the following report, our reporter Bertrand Teta says she is a native from Bafia, central region of the country. We'll have more details in the following report.
Je viens d'un tout petit village appelé Bafia au Cameroun, en Afrique centrale.
The Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau on Thursday, July 29th, made official the list of new senators appointed. Among these appointed senators is Amina Jaba, a Canadian of Cameroonian origin. She was appointed senator for Quebec by the Governor General of Canada. Amina Jaba was born in 1961 in Bafia, central region of Cameroon. The new senator for Quebec immigrated to Canada in 1986. An entrepreneur who works on her own, has over 30 years experience. She was notably ambassador of Afro-optimism by working as an economic link between Canada and Africa from 1993 to 1995. Amina Jaba worked for market development in Africa for several Canadian companies. In 2021, she created the Afrique Expansion Company with the objective of establishing a bridge between Canada and Africa. Before her appointment as senator, Amina Jaba headed the board of directors of entrepreneur companies, an organization set up as part of Quebec's 2017-2022 government action plan in entrepreneurship to support entrepreneurs from cultural communities. She is also a member of the board of directors and of the executive committee of the University of Quebec. In 2014, the Cameroonian was made a Knight of the National Order of Quebec, named Business Personality at the Gala Dynasty, and Entrepreneur of the Year of the Network of African Entrepreneurs and Professionals. Amina Jaba is one of the 25 women of influence in Quebec, according to a ranking named by the newspaper Les Affaires.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is with that report that we draw the curtains of our last edition of our English Prime News over Camdis Television. But before we go, here are major stories. The Minister of Basic Education and the Minister of Public Service have jointly spoken to the press on the result of the 2020-2021 school year and the recruitment test result of 3,000 public service teachers, and call on teachers to be duty conscious as part of the support program for educational reform in Cameroon for the 2020 financial year. The United Nations Population Fund has this July 30, 2021, officially handed over 423 interagency emergency reproductive health kits to the Ministry of Public Health, dispatched to 106 clinics in Cameroon. The Minister of Economy, Planning and Regional Development, Paul Tasson, has this Friday, July 30, chaired the second session of the Interministerial Technical Committee meeting with experts in charge of assessing the maturity of public investment projects at the Amphi 300 of the ministry. Thanks for watching. It has been a wonderful week. But before we go, I want to say that Claude Mayo will be bringing you news at 8 p.m. in the French language. And as from Monday 2nd, Bertrand Tita will take over the 6 p.m. news. Have a blessed evening in the company of our programs.